Of our podcast. This is the third episode of season two, where we talk about the socialization equation. And I'm with Tommaso Di Bartolo, the founder and CEO of Phygital, the startup laying the building blocks of spatial experience. How are you doing today, Tommaso? Pumped for the episode?
Romeo, as always, week or one in the year or two, very pumped. What are we talking about today, Romeo?
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I'm super excited today because I love the direction that Phygital or slash Fury is going in the going with the economic and monetization model of the platform, and I can't wait for you to share with the whole story with our audience today.
Right
So,
on.
without any further delay, let's get into it. So, you are going away from the creator-consumer model of existing social media platforms and introducing new roles for users, like altruist explorers. Tell me more about it.
All right, I think that this question is super valid because we're talking behaviors over the last 25 years that have been formed in a medium that is called social media, right? In quick, social media over the last 25 years has been really molding and forming a new experiment, which is how as humanity going to interact with each other with the actual original intent to connect. And what it actually became then is a new medium that more reflects of the iteration and the future of what once was television. In short, social media, Romeo, became media. It's called social media, but it's actually more media than
Yeah,
social,
yeah.
meaning
Mhm.
that the aspect of social or to be social or to socializing, right, has been really limited. Or in other words, also the way that we could look at it, that social media actually has conveyed to the current generation that the definition of being social is to comment like a chair. And that is the paradigm blindness, meaning current users are accepting the fact that, yeah, I'm commenting, liking, and sharing, and that's the way that I'm social. But what if you are actually not social that way, right? As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
socializing in real world, meaning we're two or more people, right? A group, right? So it's
Yeah,
socially
yeah.
is a group behavior, right? Is doing something together, so it's acting, right? And that act is accomplishing a common purpose. Right? In simple terms, if we cook together, and have fun, that's socialization. That's when I have fun. So let's accept for a second that, wow, there is an opportunity, like a big opportunity for us to be actually, truly, genuinely digitally social because we have never been it, right? So, and therefore, we are at Fidget with the application theory, right, from the ground up, behaviorally forming new activities the way that you socialize, or in other words, let's not use the word socialize, how you foster community, how next gen fosters community. And that's when you have different roles, right? You do
Correct.
have roles as creator, but what we call it more, it's a co-creator. I get asked why co-creator and not creator, because when you say creator today, you think of, oh, I created a YouTube video, I created a Twitch video, I created an Instagram post, and whatnot, and then you created something. Well, what about co-creation? Co-creation meaning that if you don't do it with others, right, you
Yeah.
actually do not create. That's the reason why co-creating, which entails the fact of you collaborating with others in order for you to accomplish something that is not about visibility, but it's about you having the feeling of, I created together with somebody else an asset, a digital asset that lives on top of the physical world, but it's actually digital, right? And that digital asset, which we call digital graffiti, called Xfidi, right, is for other people, becomes for other people almost like a point of experience, right? To go back to your original question, what is a creator slash an altruist? Altruist is someone that within the very world, within the world of a new dimension on top of the physical world, right? You are
Mhm.
converting physical assets into digital assets and therefore bringing it into a so-called economy, right? And those digital assets that you convert are actually from your physical world, so they are highly contextual, they mean something to you because you have them in the physical world, right? They're now made available to the community, to the environment, to this new dimension, in order for you to co-create something out of something like this, right? So the way that you could look at this, Romeo, is imagine Pokemon Go meets Minecraft. 3, 2, 1. What did he say? Yeah, Pokemon Go the exploration of it, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Spatial meets Minecraft, the creation, right? But not with the purpose of playing. So the user is not a gamer, but with the purpose of building and fostering community, meaning through the act of doing something, which is building this new dimension, you are now interacting, right? So it's, the two of us, we don't know each other. We start playing tennis. We still don't know each other the first time. The second time, oh, we met already one time. We met already. So we do something and we foster community, we foster a relationship, right? And
yeah,
that
yeah,
is exactly what we do, right? So we have the altruist who brings something into the actual environment and therefore into the actual economy. And we chose the word altruism because what we fundamentally are doing, we are shaping a new behavior for the next generation to have this feeling of belonging. And you can only have this feeling of belonging if you help each other. How do you help each other and say, hey, Romeo, I'm new in this dimension, almost like, hey, imagine we meet in a new world, and this is
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
bringing to the world. And you say, oh, cool, I met the first time Tommaso, and Tommaso is bringing ABC. He's Italian, he's
Hmm.
bringing some spaghetti carbonara and, some panini and some aranciata. Say, I can
Yeah,
make use of that.
that's
That makes sense.
delicious.
Like, yeah, exactly. I'm getting water in my mouth, right? So that's kind of how we're thinking of it. So going back and say, how can we move away from individualistic understanding and behavior into we all need each other? That's the reason why we call it altruist. As a matter of fact, the one KPI that we measure for each user is what we call the sort of ripple effect. And the ripple effect is basically showing or quantifying how a user is influencing through what you brought to the table the world, right? And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
creates this beautiful, genuine behavior of, oh yeah, you're welcome because I can truly benefit from your presence, right? So we are not about in games like, most of the games, shooting games and killing games, right? And so we have this healthy competition. We have this collaborative approach. We have this behavioral proven approach that you build something and therefore you have this feeling of belonging, feeling of accomplishment. And we build these mechanics into it. And that's from a creator perspective, co-creator perspective that becomes the altruist. And then you have the discoverers. The discoverers are those who say, no, I am not here to create something. And that's great, right? But then you
hmm,
walk and
yeah,
wander around at the beginning with your mobile phone, right? And why should you wander around with mobile phone? Ask people. Well, very simple, because you are at UC Berkeley campus next to the Campanile, and you see people that are doing like this, right? That are pointing at something that your sheer eye is not seeing, but through the mobile application, you are actually seeing and interacting with something that is fun, that is interactive, that is decomposed, that has been created. You see who did it. The people are chatting in there, right? So it becomes what I call the point of experiences of these digital graffitis, right? They say, man, it's like, what's going on over there, right? Out of curiosity,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right. So it's almost like there is something that is unseen and I can only see it through a device. And it starts with a mobile phone, but it's going into smart glasses. Well, if you don't believe in smart glasses, that's a totally separate topic. But the future and the biggest application is going to be here, right? So
Yeah.
that's how we started out in who is the co-creator slash the altruist. The altruist is the one who joins this new dimension and
Hmm.
brings value into the new dimension by digitalizing physical asset into digital assets. And those digital assets are the essence and the substance for others to create something out of it, right? And you have the explorers who basically are wandering around in this new dimension, this very world, which right now is geolocated and geofenced on top of campuses, right? University of Michigan, University of Stanford, right? UC Berkeley, UCLA, Stony Brooks, right? Really shout out to the Stony Brooks guys, very, very active, right? And so what they do is then they discover things. But back to Europe.
That's a super elaborate explanation, and I appreciate that. So, a few thoughts based on that. So, an altruist can basically a creator in a specific environment, but then an altruist can also be a discoverer or explorer in a different community in a different environment, right? Uh, and then another thing that may comes to mind is how you spoke about the collaboration of productivity. So if you are not bringing in value, if you are just a troll, if you are just someone who wants to basically come in and disrupt the environment, you simply don't have a space here. Like that is one of the major issues with current social media, with all of the negative energy, the anxiety. So I think that helps the community a lot, right?
I think the DNA, absolutely right. Actually, it's more than a DNA, and I like to say, Romeo, that we are at Phygital not creating technology for the sake of technology, but we are more so creating a movement where the next generation has understand or is realizing slowly but surely, right, that the fact of you being on top of the real world, but not having the real world as a venue, as a canva for you to playfully engage and meet and mingle others, right, is almost a sad circumstances that we live in. What we all want is meet new people that are like-minded, that I can build trust, I can build a relationship, right? And we see a huge deflection of people, the next generation, having really challenges of meeting these new people, connecting with these new people. Even if you're on campus, right? I mean, I have two I mean, I call them kids, obviously, right? But students myself, right? And they are a huge university. I know, just my junior just entered UCLA, right? And the first month, I was saying, I am surrounded by thousands of students, but I am alone. So what does it
Mhm.
mean? That we need something that obviously, Romeo, right, is not a linear evolution of what we today categorized or is categorized as social media or games, right? So
Yeah,
because
yeah.
games is for gamers, my intent is totally different. So the intentionality for somebody who categorizes him or herself as a gamer is for me to be in the front of a screen with my hands, so with my hardware, right, with my AAA game, or even some have these chairs, like my intentionality of playing and dedicating time with a certain environment is totally different, right? Than
Yeah,
if
yeah.
if something is playful. Playful is more a surprise that happens to you while you were not expecting it, and that leads more into experiences. That's the reason why we have categorized spatial experiences. So it's a 3D, 4D environment on top of the real world, right? That really empowers the user to create experiences, right? So this morning in another interview, I used for the very first time the analogy and said, in other words, where we are is what Uber became to taxis. So taxis has been around since automotive is existing, right? But
Yeah,
Uber
yeah.
created that empowered drivers. Uber created that users have a more saver way of connecting with drivers. The drivers feel more responsible to offer a better service, and therefore they democratize truly the fact of you going with a ride share service from A to B. And we are democratizing experiences right now, instead of putting it in the hands of the big companies that say we are the experience brand, we are the Disney World of this world. By the way, I love them, right? Don't get me wrong, right? But what if you can create your experience, and that's a micro group that is invited to that experience or can connect with that matters to you. So it's not about the mass reach. It's not about big community. It's about 5 people that love indie music in a specific location with visual effects, right? And we all chat there and we feel connected. That's the future of it.
That's amazing. Yeah, so this actually brings me to the economic model side of things. So advertisement is obviously the biggest moneymaker for social media platforms, but Viri isn't about monetizing users for ad dollars. So how are you approaching this?
Well, let's zoom out in terms of advertisement. So advertisement was the digital online advertisement, right? Became
Yeah.
really big with obviously with social media and with mobile phones, right? And
Yes.
obviously any company needs to drive revenues, right? The question is, who are you targeting, right? So current Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they actually love brands. They love the Louis Vuittons, they love the McDonald's, they love the Vans, right, of this world. What they dislike is the way that they're being addressed by the online advertisement. Why? Because it's invasive. It's actually penetrating their moment of entertainment, right, on those social media. As a matter of fact, that reflects on the forecast and on the P&Ls of the biggest ads provider, online ads provider. Take a look at Facebook. Take a look at Google. No longer are they having double digits growth in that space, but only one digit growth, and it's totally in decline. So there is a very, very clear sign that this next generation is not going to engage with the online advertisement platform, which brings actually and disrupts this entire industry. And as well, obviously, it brings also a side effect as a challenge, a side problem, which is all the consumer brands that are targeting this generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They see vanishing the relationship or the opportunity to build a relationship, right? Why? Because they don't engage, right? Because they say you can post whatever you want. As a matter of fact, you see that the return of investment or the ROAS, return of ad spends, are going up, but they don't engage, right? So what is the model, right? So you're not going to achieve that by selling to or penetrating or paying per clicks, but you want to become more of a partner, a collaborative approach that the consumers and the online ads platform will be having, and that's what we're doing at Phygital as an online platform, right? That we provide the opportunity to become a partner that is not led, that doesn't lead the activity from the one who pays, but the activity is led by the end user. Give an example. If I take a picture of my Nike Air Max white low top, right, and I brought that into the very world, remember what we were discussing, right, into the digital world, right? So I, as a user, decided consciously that I want that. Beautiful. That's already a big sign, right? Another question is, what can you do with that, right? And in that aspect, right, we provide then the brands the possibility in the future, not right now, because right now we are focused only on consumer, right? In the future, of becoming more a partner to the end user that focuses on enriching the actual point of experience, right? And not having advertisement like 3D immersive videos or clicks. That's one version of things, which is in the second phase of the company. In the first phase of the company, we are experimenting, right? We are learning. Again, why? Because spatial experiences does not exist yet. So we are building it, right, as we speak. We are basically taking a chapter from the gaming industry and saying, what if in that physical digital environment, right? Because the law of the physics do not apply, but the only limitation is the user's imagination. What if we empower the users with special strength, with powers? What if you want to go to a physical digital dimension and you want to be there faster? What if you want to find something better in a quicker time? And we basically are testing here microtransaction for the user to be empowered to do something still in the physical world, but for the digital dimension, right? And that is very much aligned with a behavior that users say from the gaming industry, that they're used to. Also comparable with, if you're on YouTube and you want to buy a sticker, right? Because you wanna appear or stand out in the communication, right? So that's the direction in which we are experimenting. But again, early days, we are not into the fact of, in this first phase of the company, figuring out the monetization model, but more so building the core loop mechanic for the consumer so that we have a joyful, really happy path for the end user, so that the end user has an extended dwell time and joins in these activities of building this physical digital dimension. And then it's let's say relatively easy to build in a monetization model, right, Roman?
That's cool. That sounds super cool, especially the microtransaction part. I want to know more about it as we develop that. So
For
on the
sure.
other side, how what are your thoughts on how the creators, the altruists, will get compensated in kind or in payments? Like, what are you thinking of there?
I think that there are always two ways of intrinsic rewards, right? And one is the extrinsic reward. Extrinsic reward is you do something, you get something, right? And we might be moving in that direction, where you say, depending what value you have provided to the entire theory world, right? Value
Hmm.
as in how many people have interacted, how many point of experiences have you built that are actually interactive, right, for others, right? Really a level of measurement of value creation. Then you would get and appropriate the right. You would get the rights to start monetizing things, right? We have also a thought process experimentation on blockchain where we are offering users to eternalize their assets. So the asset doesn't necessarily need to be there forever. Like for instance, if you see all around you only point of experiences that are not valuable, right? And that would not make sense for the side, right, on how people are perceiving this physical digital. But what if we basically have, and that's what we are building in, right, a dimension where we can actually measure how much value that point of experience is providing, and the user can decide if they have it forever or not, right? By the way, you see that I didn't use the word minting, right? But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's where it goes, right? So that point of experience has basically then an address on a blockchain. It's minted so that it's traceable, right? It's also because it's on certain blockchain technology we're using, and it's interoperable, right? So you can export it also as an entire experience, right? And that is then the underlying factor for monetization, which goes then into a crypto monetization, right? Again, early days to discuss that, but that's kind of the experiments we're doing for the physical digital world, and a lot we're doing obviously hand in hand with students.
That sounds awesome. Thanks for your time again, Tommaso. It was super enlightening discussion today. Thanks for joining, guys. As always, join the Fury world. Become one of the early co-conspirators, especially if you're a college students in the colleges that Tommaso mentioned. And yeah, have a good day. Bye bye.
Outstanding, Romeo. Thank you so much. World. I'll see you over there. Bye.